If you don't know exactly what to do when you go to the gym and you kind of just feel a little bit lost, you're kind of just wandering all over the place, not knowing exactly what exercise to do next or how to go about things in a certain way, and you feel like you're just kind of wasting your time and you're not really making as much progress as you know you should be making, well, then this video is going to be an absolute game changer for you because I'm going to lay out all the principles that you would ever need to know about training and lifting and recovery and all the ins and outs of working out to build muscle and get lean and get the physique that you really want so that you can fully understand it. And now, anytime you go to the gym, you will know exactly what to do in the best way, and you can finally start getting closer to your fitness goals. If you don't know who I am, my name is Elliot Serino, and I am a fitness coach specifically for dads who want to level up as a man, change their physique, become the best versions of themselves. And on this channel, all I talk about are the best ways to go about getting into amazing shape as a dad. We talk about nutrition strategies, training strategies, mindset stuff, and everything in between. And in this video, we're going to be diving deep into training philosophy and training systems. I'm going to be diving deep into what exercises you should be prioritizing, all based on your specific schedule and capacity to train, how many days you can train, how long you can train for. This is all going to be mainly built to just fit the life of a dad, but still a dad who is serious about their physique, likes going to the gym, but just wants a better way and a better structure to go about exercising and working out and going to the gym. So like I said, at the end of this video, you will have literally everything you will ever need to know about how to train in the best way possible to get into amazing shape. So let's dive into it, starting off with training philosophy. So the first thing you really need to understand is that your workouts absolutely do not need to be long, and 3 days per week in the gym is enough. Most guys are spending way too long in the gym, and it ends up just messing with their busy schedule. Obviously, we're dads, we have a lot going on, we have a lot on our plates, and so we don't necessarily have the time to be going to the gym for 90 minutes, 2 hours plus, because we got to get in and out of there. But when you don't have a real plan and everything's just kind of scattered and chaotic, well, then oftentimes you find yourself in the gym longer than you have to be. So it ends up just messing up the entire process. You're in the gym for way longer than you should be. You're not making the progress that you know you should be because everything isn't structured how it should be based on your specific body and your specific goals. And you end up just getting really frustrated, and maybe sometimes you even quit because you know there's a better way, but you just don't have that better way. So the first thing you need to understand is your workouts do not need to be long, and you can get away with only working out 3 days per week if you structure your program in the way that I'm about to teach you. Execution and form is way more important than how much weight you lift, because if you're lifting a certain amount of weight but you're using sloppy form, then you're not going to be activating the targeted muscle that you want to train. So before you get caught up with ego lifting and just trying to lift as much weight as possible, you got to make sure that your form is in check before you start to go heavier and increase your strength. Also, you want to be avoiding injuries, and if your execution and form is not on point, then you will be increasing your chance of injury. And so tracking progression is going to be key. What you need to understand when it comes to training is you need to understand what progressive overload is. And that's you slowly making your exercises harder over time by either adding more weight, adding more reps, adding more sets, or just doing something more that you didn't do last session. And the only way that you can go about doing this properly is by tracking your lifts. You need to have some place where you put the numbers down of what weight you lifted and for how many reps or sets. And when you do that, you now have the ability to look back at those numbers to make sure, okay, this is what I need to do this week in order to continue to progress in my lifts. So if you're just going to the gym and going through the motions, your execution and form is not on point, and you're not tracking your lifts and making sure that you're actually doing progressive overload and making sure that you're getting stronger over time, then you will not be building any new muscle, and you'll basically just be staying the same, wasting your time. You have to be tracking your lifts and making sure that every time you do something, you're at least getting an extra few pounds or one extra rep. And the best way to go about actually doing that consistently is just doing the same exercises over and over again, having that core handful of exercise that you know you always do, having the weight that you did last time tracked and logged. And then that way, every time you go in there and you do those core lifts, you beat your best from last time and you get stronger and you build more muscle. Also, training to failure is definitely a non-negotiable. Oftentimes I see people and they're just not training hard enough. You got to make sure that by that last rep, you literally cannot do any more. You need to be able to train your brain to be able to put yourself in that position where you are truly training to failure and you're putting that body in that spot where you truly cannot do any more. Until you put your body and your muscles in those situations, then your body is not going to have any reason to continue to put on more muscle and grow. Pre and post-workout nutrition is definitely essential. A lot of people aren't timing their meals out properly when it comes to eating before and after their workouts. You definitely want to be making sure that you're getting enough carbs. I would never get less than 50 grams of carbs both pre and post workout. You also want to make sure that you're getting enough protein in both of those meals. And me personally, I like to keep the fats low on those meals. I don't like any fats pre or post workout because fats will slow down digestion, and I want the nutrients that I consume both before and after my workout to be digested fast so I can absorb those nutrients as quickly as possible. You definitely want to be eating some kind of pre-workout meal 60 to 90 minutes before you train, and then you want to make sure that you're eating your post-workout meal within that hour after your training session. And then sticking to the same program for 12 plus weeks. That means actually writing out what your program is going to be, planning it out, and sticking to that for at least 12 weeks to make sure that you give your body enough time to progress on all of those lifts that you set out for yourself. If every time you go to the gym, you're doing something different, then I promise you, you are quite literally wasting your time. You got to pick the lifts that you like the best, that connect with you the best, and the ones that you find it easy to stay consistent with. Pick those lifts, set them up, and then stick to those lifts for a long time. Make sure you're tracking all of the numbers and all of the weight so you can make sure that you're slowly progressing over time. There's really no two ways about it. That is how you build muscle. And if you stray away from that, then I promise you will continue to stay stuck. Never, ever, ever do cardio pre-workout because we have to be saving our energy for our lifts. So it's totally fine to do a 5 or even 10-minute little warm-up on the bike or the treadmill or the Stairmaster, but never ever do a full cardio session before you do your weights. You want to go into the weight session as energized and fresh as possible, and you want to wait to do your cardio after, because when you go into your cardio, you'll already be warmed up. You won't have to go through that warming up process to go into the cardio session, and the whole process is going to be way more efficient. Caffeine is amazing. You definitely want to be utilizing caffeine. I personally love pre-workout. There's nothing better than just a few 100 milligrams of caffeine before you go into your workout, because you want to have enough energy during that session, throughout the entire session, so that you can be as strong and focused as possible. There's no point in going to the gym and being all lazy and groggy and just tired and dragging ass, because you're not going to perform as well as you could be. So why not just take a scoop or two of pre-workout or an energy drink or even, an espresso or a coffee and go into that session much more energized and ready to attack it full on. And you need to gain a deep understanding of volume and frequency. And what this means is volume is how many sets per muscle group you are doing per week, and frequency is how often you are training that muscle group per week. Having some kind of understanding of the total sets that you want to do for each muscle group for that week, and then how you want to split that up over the week. And those things are really going to determine how you go about structuring out your program. So really, this is going to be determined on how many days you're available to go to the gym and how you're going to go about structuring your exercise selection based on how many days you can go. So the bottom tier here is going to be the foundational tier, which is these are the foundational most important exercises that you should be absolutely hitting every single week. And I'm going to go into all of them one at a time, but really you just need to understand that this bottom tier here, these are the most important exercises that you need to include in your routine and in your program on a regular basis. And if you only have like 2 or 3 days, then your program is going to be heavily based on these few exercises because these are the most important ones. And then if you have more days, I have a tier 2 and a tier 3 based on importance. So if you have 4 days to go to the gym, then you can start picking out some of these exercises and incorporating these for even more muscle and, just utilize your time in the gym more. And then if you have more time, whether it's more days or just more times per session, then you can go ahead and choose some of these tier 3 exercises. And all of these exercises have a place, but you just have to understand which is going to give you the best bang for your buck and which is going to be most efficient, because there are some exercises that are going to target multiple muscle groups at a time, and those are going to be more efficient and give you more leverage. So I'm just going to briefly go into each tier and why I chose which exercise to go into each tier. And so what you got to understand here is I picked the exercises that I know to be the most efficient for each muscle group. And so I chose about 2 exercises per muscle group, and this should be more than enough for just a bare bones limited, 2 or 3 day, 45-minute per session program, but still be able to get a lot out of it and still be able to progress. And that is if you're executing your form properly and you're tracking your weights and making sure that you're doing the progressive overload slowly over time. So for chest, an incline press and a flat press, those are going to be your bread and butters. Whether it's with barbell, dumbbell, or Smith machines, those 2 are going to be your main movements. Same thing with back. You're going to do a row and a pull down, and it's just going to be the foundational, fundamental exercises like a barbell row or a cable row or a wide grip pull down. For arms, some kind of straight bar curl, whether it's a dumbbell curl, a cable curl, or a barbell curl, and then a tricep extension where you're extending your arm and really driving in the tricep. You could do that with a rope on a cable. You could do dumbbell kickback extensions, cable kickback extensions, or even a tricep extension machine. With shoulders, really just getting in a good lateral side raise is really going to cap out the delts. And you got to make sure that you're getting a rear delt exercise in there. I like the fly machine, or you could do it with cables, because with the incline press, you're really going to be getting enough front delt on that exercise. And so for shoulders, if you are limited to time and days in the gym, you just got to make sure you're getting a lateral side raise and a rear delt fly. And then for legs, you got to make sure you're doing some kind of squat, whether that's just a barbell back squat or a Smith squat, or even a hack squat or pendulum squat. If your gym has those, some kind of squat movement is going to be the bread and butter main movement for your legs. And then a RDL is going to be super efficient, probably best done with a barbell, but you could do it with dumbbells. That's going to target the lower back a little bit as well. And then a standing calf, and then I included cable crunches here as well. And so if you just structure out your program with these lifts, if you're limited on time, then that will be enough if you are truly progressing on all of these lifts efficiently. I think that regardless of how many days you're able to go to the gym, you should aim to be getting at least 10 good sets per muscle group per week. So anywhere in the 8 to 12 set per muscle group per week range is going to be good. I would aim to get at least 10. And so just understand that when you are putting together your programs. The secondary exercises, I'm not going to go into these as much, but definitely a chest fly, a single arm row is going to be great for the back thickness, dips for the triceps, and then a little bit of chest and shoulders as well. Hammer curls are really going to thicken up that arm. Shoulder press is going to be a good one. Leg press, leg curl for the hamstrings, and then a seated calf raise, and then a leg raise for the abs. And then if you have the extra time or the extra days, you can always throw in decline press, single arm pull downs for the lats, skull crushers for the triceps, reverse curl for the forearms. Leg extension is going to be a great one, and then a split squat. And so, what I did here is I put together some example programs that you can just take and use on your own. And these are all going to be really great, efficient, and effective training programs that are going to allow you to get the best bang for your buck across the whole board and really target the entire body. Each workout is designed to be about 45 minutes each. And basically, what I have here is a 2-day split, a 3-day split, a 4-day split, and a 5-day split. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in a Google Doc and just put the link down in the description below so you can just steal that for yourself for free. And so, I just want to kind of talk about sets and reps. And so I'm not going to go into every split. You can kind of just see it for yourself. You see here I have the 2-day split, which is an upper and a lower day, upper body and legs. Then if you're doing a 3-day split, I just, split it up into a push-pull legs. 4-day split is going to be push-pull legs and then shoulders and arms. Kind of just get some more detail and emphasis and thickness on the upper body. And then 5-day split is going to be push-pull legs, push-pull. And then if you want to bring up your legs, you could swap one of these out for, 2 leg days, maybe a push-pull legs, push legs or something like that. But, you can kind of take these for your own. And what I want to talk about is the best way to go about structuring your sets and your reps. And so here on the first exercise of each day, right? So for example, incline press for these days, or the barbell row for this day, or the squat for this day. These are going to be where you're really spending extra time warming up. And then you're going to be going into, once you're warmed up, you're going to be going into your working sets. And so, like I said, you need to be getting at least 10 working sets per muscle group per week. And so what that means is whether you're splitting it up into multiple days or it's just all on the same day for that muscle group, you just got to make sure that you're getting 10 working sets for that muscle group. And then the way I like to do it is I like to stay within the 8 to 12 rep range. You can feel this out and kind of go based on feeling. Obviously, when you go about tracking your weights and tracking your lifts and really focusing on progressive overload, there's going to be days where maybe you're not as strong, or maybe it's a new weight that you're not used to and you're going to fall short and you're going to get the 6 rep range, which is totally fine. Or then maybe some days, you just picked a lighter weight or you're extra strong and you're going to get the 15 rep range. 6 to 15, a broader range here, that's totally fine. But really, the best rep range is 8 to 12 reps. And so if you can get 10 working sets per muscle group per week, and each set is failure at 8 to 12 reps, you will be golden as long as you're tracking your sets and making sure you're progressing over time. As long as you're eating enough, as long as you're not under eating, you're getting enough protein, you're getting enough sleep and water and hydration, and you're properly recovering, you will grow. And if your diet is on point, you will melt fat as well, and you will definitely get into much better shape. And so now you have an actual system, an actual plan to follow when it comes to your training, and you have a deeper understanding of how this stuff works when it comes to volume and frequency and progressive overload and the pre-workout, post-workout nutrition, all the philosophy fundamentals that I talked about. I really hope that that was all very valuable for you. I do just want to say that if you are looking for a coach and you would rather just get some one-on-one guidance and one-on-one help with all of this stuff, I would love to see if you're a good fit for my one-on-one coaching. Obviously, I would build out all your training programs from scratch for you based around your specific schedule, your experience level, your level of recovery. It's all going to be monitored, very detailed, very custom. It's going to be broken up into 12-week blocks. So every 12 weeks, you'll have a brand new training program designed by me. Obviously, I take care of all of the nutrition, macronutrients, cardio, everything from A to Z is just completely covered. I do it all for you. So all you have to do is just check the boxes, and watch your body change at a rapid pace. So if that's something that you're interested in, all you have to do is click the link in the description to book a call with me so we can meet face to face and see if it's a good fit. But other than that, I really hope that this was valuable for you. Like I said, I'm going to put this training system examples in a Google Doc so you can take it. I'm actually going to add some sets and reps in there so you can kind of just have a better understanding of how to go about structuring a program. You can kind of see how I go about building out a program. And like I said, you can just use these programs for your own right off the bat and start getting some great progress.